Welcome to the Recovery Cast, brought to you by Hills and Rangers Private.
Hello and welcome to the Recovery Cast, proudly brought to you by Hills and Rangers Private. My name's Oliver and I'm a former alcoholic and addict now in recovery. The Recovery Cast is a podcast created by people in recovery from alcoholism and addiction for people in recovery from alcoholism and addiction. This podcast is meant as a support tool for those in recovery. Everyone who participates in the podcast is in an active recovery program. We are not affiliated with any one recovery methodology and will focus on a variety of different types of recovery, including 12-step recovery such as Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, and other things like Smart Recovery, Celebrate Recovery, Recovery Dharma, Cognitive Behavioural Therapy, and more. And a quick disclaimer, this podcast is intended to be informative. A podcast alone cannot support your sobriety and recovery, so we suggest it only as one component of a daily recovery routine. For more information on what recovery is, go to www.rehab.melbourne. Alexis.
Oliver.
How are you?
I'm plodding along just fine.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Me too. Good.
Yeah.
Nice one. What are we talking about?
Today's reading is from Alcoholics Anonymous, Daily Reflections for December the 19th. And it's Understanding the Malady. I'm still weird about, I just feel like I'm not pronouncing that
Malady?
word right. Yeah, Malady.
Tips Fedora. No, it's malady, as in like condition.
Yeah. It just
malady
feels weird to say.
comes from the word mal, which is French for bad.
Yeah, like malnourished.
Yeah, bad, undernourished, badly nourished. So yeah, similar.
Okay.
If you look at the etymology, which means the origin of the word, study of words.
All right, calm down. So the reading is on Understanding the Malady. When dealing with an alcoholic, there may be a natural annoyance that a man could be so weak, stupid, and irresponsible. Even when you understand the malady better, you may feel this feeling rising. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 139. Having suffered from alcoholism, I should understand the illness, but sometimes I feel annoyance, even contempt, towards a person who cannot make it in AA. When I feel that way, I am satisfying my false sense of superiority, and I must remember, but for the grace of God, there go I. Well.
Nice. Get off your high horse.
Yeah.
Just because you're clean doesn't mean you're better than everybody else.
Right.
Sometimes I need to take some of that advice myself.
Yeah, me too, actually. We were talking just before we started recording, and I have 100% been guilty of doing that, looking at people who have relapsed continuously in the rooms and being like, well, I did it, so why can't you? Like, I used way harder than you. I did this and I did that, and it's just
and I got it, why can't you?
Yeah, and not taking...
You're weak and pathetic.
Yeah. And it's just not a very spiritual or like just even generally nice way to be. Like, who am I to sit there and be like, you should be doing better and you should be doing that, It's
not the spirit of recovery.
No.
It's not even, we're not even talking about 12-step stuff here. We're talking about some people just don't get it straight away. Some people don't get it at all. And that's really actually, rather than them being weak, it's just very sad, isn't it?
Yeah, and as addicts, like, the statistics are not on our side at all, and I remember when I first heard that, like, I don't know, I'm pretty competitive, and I was like, I have to beat the statistics, I have to beat the numbers,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I think there's ego sometimes does play that positive role in recovery of like, I can stay cleaner for longer than you,
Nah.
Yeah. But then, it can turn very quickly. So we have to be, I think we just have to try and, I don't know, that's where that generosity and spirituality and just overall the spiritual principles come in. I think that we do offer help to the people who are still suffering. Maybe they aren't ready yet, but we are not superior to them. We are not better than them just because we've got it. Some people take lots of attempts to actually maintain their sobriety and recovery.
Yeah, I've witnessed that as well.
Oh, me too. The people that I've had guests on the show here before who struggled for a long time, but now they've they're maintaining, they're nursing a serious amount of clean time. And if I hadn't given them that patience and, I did my little part to help them along, and there are lots of people like that. Yeah, that's all I can do. I can answer the phone.
Yeah, yeah.
I can check in and say, "Are you okay?" And we get to see those success stories, and it's. I think for me, my biggest problem is the control, because I'm a control freak, and that's my main character defect. I think why don't you just get clean? Why don't you just get sober? Especially when I'm involved, when I'm helping someone and they can't stay clean or they can't maintain their recovery, it makes me think I'm not in control, and that makes me feel afraid. So it interacts with my sort of my actual malady of, that's actually part of my addiction, is that I used for a long time because I didn't feel in control. And when I used, I felt safe and secure and relaxed. So sometimes I just have to let it go, and it helps me. And even it's kind of a bit depraved to say that somebody's relapse or somebody's struggle helps me, but it really does.
It reminds me of where I don't want to be. Absolutely. I'm too stubborn. As much as I toy with the idea sometimes, which I think is just fucking, that's
sick.
Just normal.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
that's
just
normal
for an addict.
Yeah.
I'm too stubborn, and having to go back and reset my clean time would drive me mental. And I don't think I'd be able to just go out, have a couple of just have a small relapse and then be okay, yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, no, I'd never come back.
Okay, everything is fucking destroyed, and I am going to make sure that it is I'm going to take everything out with me.
Yeah.
And I've worked so hard personally to not be running on that sort of narrative. I don't want to go back to that, and being able to see the pain that people are in really helps me.
You sick fuck, Alexis.
Yeah, thanks guys, appreciate you.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. And look, for the listeners out there, I think what can you take away from it? I just think that
we can't judge anyone for where they're at within
we can't
their
judge
journey.
them, but on it, forgetting about other people now, in terms of your recovery, if you're listening to this, you may have gone and made the decision to go and get treatment, and you've worked hard, you've been through that detox, you've been through that difficult period. It's
you've sweated it all
I mean,
out.
if people were able to just say, well, I've gone this far, I can't throw it all away, then that's actually, we're dealing with addiction here, and that means jack shit, doesn't it? Yeah, it's maybe it'll be different this time. Boom, gone. See you later, mate. So yeah, I don't know, but I just think of where I will go if I relapse. That's where it takes me. So I think about the fact that I know deep down in the core of my being that I cannot just have one, and I've proved that to myself throughout the 10 plus years of my active addiction, that there is just no sating, or there's no satisfying that addiction, and that one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. Because I definitely had more than 1,000 drugs, and it was never enough. It never actually filled that deep hole inside me.
Yeah, it used to drive me insane.
I was a slave to filling that hole.
Yeah, same.
That's the addiction, is that it was just this mindless, compulsive, obsessive usage of substances. And I see that insanity, in people who have gambling addictions of, sometimes it actually makes it's better to look at that from that perspective, because it makes less sense to me. It's why would you feed your money into a machine? It doesn't do anything. But it's why would you feed drugs into your body? It doesn't do anything, except cause harm. So it's literally the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, sorry, I never gambled. I've never even bought a fucking $2 scratchy. Yeah.
Wow. Well, don't,
My head doesn't work like that though. I'm like, why would I want to risk losing my money? I need my money to get stuff. But I come from like a pretty like shithouse background and stuff, where we are like, I didn't have anything growing up, so like when it come to me having money, I didn't want to risk losing it. I just felt very safe in keeping it,
But then literally there's no difference between that and spending all your money with your dealer.
I felt like I got, well,
you felt like you got something out of it.
Out of that.
Well, that's the illusion of the disease, I reckon, for me, because I could have I could have saved so much money. I mean, I've got this. Do you have a sobriety counter? Like a clean time app?
Yeah, it just tells me how many days I've got.
Oh, I've got one that tells me how much money I've saved, and that is a phenomenal kind of thing of like, hang on a minute. I think I'm nearly up to $70,000.
That's unreal.
In 4 years and 2 months and a few days. Where that money is, I think it's parked in the garage, and then the other one's parked in the driveway.
Yep.
And then the rest is in the landlord's pocket and in my pot belly. Like
food.
Yeah, yes. Car. For me, it's cars, and you know what? It's healthy-ish.
Cars and carbs.
Wow, I like that. What was the other one I said?
I can't remember.
Depresso espresso.
Oh, depresso espresso. Yeah, I'm taking that away with me. Actually, I need to write that down.
I think
depresso espresso.
Cars and carbs and depression.
That is
depresso espresso.
Dude, that is what I'm gonna call my little fucking when I'm like just head.
Rename your Instagram account.
Dead set.
It's probably
so
taken.
Good.
It's too good.
Yeah. So good.
Anyway, look, let's take a break and we'll talk some more in a sec. You're on the Recovery Cast. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Recovery Cast by Hills and Rangers Private. Now playing daily on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. For more shows, visit us at www.rehab.melbourne.
Jesus is your source.
Let's hear that again.
Jesus is your source.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Kenneth Copeland, televangelist extraordinaire and crazy. We're going to get a defamation lawsuit. We love you, Kenneth. No. I think there's a lot of people talking about that on the internet. But really, I mean, that's the reason I've put that on my soundboard.
Jesus is your source.
So
it
creepy.
Never gets old.
No, it doesn't. It's so creepy.
The reason I put that on my soundboard is because I'm sort of I find that stuff so funny, and we talk about the 12-step programs being not religious, and they are definitely not religious, but
there's a lot of Bible bashing that goes on around the place.
What? Is there?
Dead set, dude. I've been in meetings where people have started quoting scripture, and it is like just making me want to bash my head into
I
the
have
wall.
quoted scripture on here before, actually. And you've been,
of course
I've been like,
Jesus is your source.
Nah, just can't get with it.
well,
Can't get with it. That's okay though. Like, no offense to anyone out there. Like, if Jesus is your source. Jesus is your source, but he is not my source. I am, like you said before, I am not like squirting him onto my hot dog bun at all. Like, it's not my kind of sauce. I prefer mayonnaise. Thank you.
That's really weird. And good. That's good though. Good for you.
Thank you.
I'm a Chipotle aioli man.
I love aioli as well.
Yeah. Anyway, I also Jesus is your source. Yeah, look, I have actually quoted some scripture, but it was more that I was saying like these religious people have lost the plot of what it's actually all about over the last few thousand years, and some of the stuff in those scriptures can be sort of reframed and made sense of in a spiritual way, which is that's where I come from, is a spiritual place, not a religious place, because Jesus is not my source as either, but I do subscribe to certain things. And I mean, look, do you think I don't know, I just kind of feel like in the whole higher powery thing is that like everybody's just going on their own journey, and if they're continually relapsing and they're not getting it, to bring it back to our reading, then that's just I say that's just Jesus' source for them. That's their will. That's God's will for them, and like they have to go through that. And I had to suffer for years and years to earn my place in the rooms as well, and that's just the way it is.
Look, I don't necessarily agree with that because I don't know, I just still can't get my head around that, like, the will for how my life should be is like something so much more powerful and greater than I could ever be. Like, I want to develop a healthy relationship with myself, healthy enough where my self-will isn't destructive. My self-will is...
Well, we learn to, yeah. We fix our will, but we have to believe in this fictitious higher power.
Well,
it's fictitious in my view. Like, I don't actually believe in a higher power, but I choose to think that there is something guiding me that's not me. And that's literally all it is I'm not guiding myself. Things are going to happen the way they're going to happen. Nothing to do with
Jesus is your source.
Nothing to do with that,
I feel, I don't know. So I've talked about this on this podcast before. So when I came into recovery, I had like a breakdown around my like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, because I felt like if I didn't have a connection to a higher power that I wouldn't get the program, I wouldn't recover.
But you got it, yeah.
But I got it anyway, and I've gotten more comfortable with my atheistic and agnostic beliefs.
Good.
And I'm still in the process of learning how to allow that to reflect in my recovery in a healthy manner, where, because I can sit there and be like, all right, like, hail Satan, like,
well, that's a higher power too,
Yeah,
Is that a rebellion thing?
It is a little bit like, and like a mockery, like just when I like, just because I'm a shit stirrer. And I just like seeing the shock on people's faces when they're like, when you're like to a god or a higher power of your own understanding at the end of a meeting, and then you're like, Satan, instead of being like God.
I had a mate that said his own name.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, like, to a god of your own higher power. Oliver, grant me the serenity.
Now that's your self-will.
It gave me the giggles, that's what I like. Yeah,
I understand it though. Like, you've really, like, you got to let yourself like give yourself the serenity, give yourself the courage,
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that you've got to allow yourself to have that, and I think that's literally my experience, is that there's nothing giving me the serenity. It's literally me allowing myself to have the serenity. And that's what it's all about for me. And I think, what the good thing about your like atheistness is that you're not telling me that I'm wrong, and you're not telling anybody that they're wrong.
No, because I've got
which
no
is
idea.
really, really, really nice. It's really nice, and I hate it when people are like,
Jesus is your source.
because I don't believe that, and I don't want to subscribe to that. So like, stop cramming it down my throat. I went to an Anglican school, and the whole time they were just like,
Jesus is your source.
and I was just like, no, not true,
Yeah, no. There's no Sky Daddy up there telling me what to do.
Well, look, you can believe what you want,
of course,
and good on you.
Like, my sponsor, she's so spiritual. Like, she's so spiritual. She is in and amongst, totally at one with her higher power, and she's even gendered it and everything, wow. And like, props to her. Like, but I was like, I need that in my life. Like, what am I going to do without that? Like, I'm screwed. And now, I don't know, I've done some searching. I've read a little of this. I've read a little of that. Like, I've had a look at this, and I've had a look at that, and like,
you've come to your own conclusion, and it's where you're happy with that.
Yeah, and it's where I was before I came into recovery, where like, I'm agnostic in the sense that I don't think that there is enough evidence for anyone to have the idea that there is something out there, and I'm atheistic in the belief that like, there's just no evidence that shows it so far, but those are just my views, and like, I've had profound experiences, I've had some beautiful experiences,
and they just happened because they happened,
that have been weird, and
nothing
I haven't been able to and I haven't been able to quite pinpoint what the hell it was, but
Cool. Well, you know what? Heels and Rangers don't have any higher power stuff in their program, because I think the higher power thing doesn't mix. Like, that's literally your experience with early recovery. And I think it was, I was that broken that I was willing to just shut up and be told what to do. But
enough.
not everybody's like that. And you know what? That's fine. And I think that it works, like whatever. You just got to find what works for you. And like we said in yesterday's episode was it yesterday? I don't know. Take what you want and leave the rest.
Take what you need and leave the rest. Yeah.
And I was going to say something really super cool and profound to sum up, but I now can't remember what it was. Oh, no, I remember.
Jesus is your source.
Sorry. We're supposed to be funny, but we're not supposed to be stupid, are we? I don't know. Anyway, you can email us and give us your thoughts on that sort of stuff. Like, what do you believe in? Do you believe in anything? Do you believe in a doorknob? Do you believe in, something? Do you have a higher power?
believe
And
in
if
Satan?
so, what is it? Yeah. Are you notice
Do you
me,
believe
senpai. Notice me.
Do you believe in the Dark Lord? Is the Dark Lord your Lord?
Yeah,
Sorry,
whatever.
I'll stop.
Whatever it is, and I mean, yeah, let us know, because we want to hear your feedback, and
Yes,
you can
we
do
do.
it. It's rehab. Sorry, no, it's not. It's podcast@rehab.melbourne. Get in contact. Tell us your experience of whether what your flavor is on that topic, and in the
Connect with
meantime,
us.
help those who are struggling. If you can, I guess, if it's a safe place to do so. And in the meantime, thanks for listening to the Recovery Cast. We'll see you soon. Cheers.
Jesus is your source.
Thank you for listening to the Recovery Cast. For more, visit us at www.rehab.melbourne.